Children, before we move further, we need to understand that what are objects and what are materials. Also, we need to know that how they are different from one another. We already studied in chapter 1 that food is made up of one or more than one ingredient. In the similar manner, the object is made up of one or more material. So basically what I want to say is an object is a thing that is made up of one or more material. I hope this much part is clear to you all. Now if you look around, there are so many objects which are around you. Your table, chairs, sofa, blackboard, chalk, fridge, TV, notebooks, books, clothes, shoes, pen, pencil, eraser, duster, candles, matchbox, almirah, fan, AC, etc. objects are around you. I already told you that an object could be made up of one material, or it could be made up of many materials as well. So let's take some examples. Here we have a wooden chair and it is made up of just one material, and that is wood. On the other side we have a pencil that is made up of many materials like rubber, metal, wood and graphite. So now I believe that you all have completely understood the difference between objects and materials. Here, pencil is an object and rubber, metal, wood and graphite are materials. Now you need to understand two important things, and that two important things are: an object could be made up of large variety of materials. What I mean to say is that like table and chairs could be made up of wood, plastic and iron. Similarly, utensils can be made up of plastics, iron, aluminium and steel. Even your clothes also could be made up of, cotton, silk, polyester, nylon, etc. And the other thing which you need to understand is a given material could be used to make a large number of objects, as you can see here. Okay, now see the examples which is there on the board. Wood could be used to make chair, table, bed, door, plough, bullock cart, boat, etc. Similarly, paper could also be used to make books, calendars, newspaper, magazines, paper bags, etc. And steels could be used to make vehicles, utensils, fine. And glass could be used to make mirror, beakers, test tubes, etc. Now we know that there are variety of materials, and these variety of materials are used to make different objects. But how do we decide that a particular material is required to make a particular object? Why always a window is made of glass? Why a cup is made of plastic or clay and not of cloth? And why a chair or a table is made up of wood or plastic and not with a paper? And the answer of these questions are very simple. So based on properties of materials, they are used for making different objects. For example, a tea or coffee mug is always made up of clay or plastic material, because its purpose is to hold the liquid. And if at all we try to make a coffee mug with cloth material, so it will not be able to hold the liquid, as you can see here. Similarly, windows are always fixed with glass, but we can always see outside even when they are closed. So I hope now you all understood that based on properties of materials, they are used for making different objects, right children? Now we'll study about properties of materials a little more. Different properties which we are going to study are: first is its appearance, second hardness, third is solubility, fourth is float or sink, and the next is transparency. So let's talk about first property. Appearance is basically how a material looks. Based on materials, the appearance is classified into two, that is shiny and non-shiny. For example, metals such as gold, silver, diamond, iron, copper and aluminium are very shiny. Whereas if we talk about wood and plastic, they are dull and non-shiny. Now let's move on to our next property, that is hardness or softness. Based on hardness of the material, it is classified as hard and soft. So those materials which are difficult to compress or scratch, like iron, wood, stone or glass, comes under the category of hard. Whereas when we talk about soft materials, so those materials that can be compressed or stretched easily, for example cotton, rubber, wool, all those things comes under the category of soft materials. And that is why a chair is always made up of wood and plastic. because its purpose is to sustain the load of a person who is sitting on it. And similarly, your pillows and your bed sheets and mattresses are made up of soft materials. Next, we'll study about the solubility of material, or solubility in water, I can say. So substances that completely disappear or dissolve in water are soluble in water, okay, as you can see here, for example, salt and sugar. Whereas when we talk about insoluble, so substances that do not mix with water and do not disappear even after we stir for a long time, for example, sand and soil, are considered to be as insoluble. So now here we have a list of materials that are soluble and insoluble in water. For example, salt and sugar are soluble in water, whereas sand, chalk powder, sawdust, mustard oil, coconut oil, kerosene are insoluble in water. So, a soluble material will completely dissolve in water, whereas an insoluble material like oil will not dissolve in water. And it will form a separate layer like this. So next property we are going to discuss about float or sink, that whether the object is able to float or sink in water or not. You must have noticed that when you put a plastic bottle or a paper boat in water, it generally floats. Whereas if you put sand, stone or coins in the water, they will generally sink in water. I hope you all know about this very clearly, right? Idea behind this is the objects that are denser than water will sink in the water, whereas the objects that are less denser than the water will float in the water. This means that the density of sand, stone and coins are higher than the density of water, whereas the density of plastic bottles, rubber ball or a paper boat is lesser than the density of water. So the last property which we need to study is transparency. So based on transparency, the materials are divided into three categories, that are transparent, opaque and translucent. Those substances or materials through which things can be seen are called as transparent. Example like glass, water, air and some plastics, right? And next is materials through which we are not able to see are called opaque materials, like wood, metals, plastic, cardboard, wall, tree, etc. And the last is the materials through which objects can be seen but not clearly are known as translucent, like butter paper, oily patch on paper, etc. Now children, try to see the picture which is given over here. This is a transparent object because the boy here is able to see the other side through this particular object. This is an opaque object, right? We all have seen the examples also over here, right? Now second is an opaque object, as because the boy here is not able to see the other part of this through this object. Now next, this is a translucent object because the boy can see partially through it. Now you will be able to understand that why your mother is keeping all the spices in transparent transparent bottles, right? Similarly, why in these chemistry labs the beakers are made up of this glass, okay? I hope you already know, I need not to tell you all again. Not necessary to tell you all again, so that you can see any change in the color through the transparent beaker which is used in the chemistry lab. And always in the bakery shop in the front you will find that transparent window is there, that you can choose your favorite food by seeing from that transparent window. Fine. And that is the reason why wooden opaque doors in our homes, no one can look into our homes from outside to inside. So I hope this much is clear to you all. Now the question arises is why sorting of materials or object is needed. You must have seen that in the library the books are always arranged in different sections according to the subjects and classes as well, so that it will be very easy to locate a particular book. Similarly, in a grocery shop, biscuits are placed in one section, fruits and vegetables are placed in another section, and your favorite drinks are placed in another section. And so it becomes easy to locate a particular item. And that is why dividing materials in groups makes it convenient to study their properties as well as to observe any patterns in these properties. With this, we come to an end of this chapter. Hope you all have understood. So thank you and God bless you all.